Go ahead, Lori.
Great. Sure. I'll just do the intro and then after I'll stop my video to maximize that bandwidth so you can just see the slides and hear me. And I think Helen also mentioned that she would like a copy just to share of the slides. So don't feel like you have to take frantic notes, and I'll just pepper it with stories. So everything will be available to you to go through again at your own leisure. So yeah, thank you so much for having me, Helen. This is amazing. I saw when you first put that post out for CHIO. CHIO has been amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for what you do. You've helped us both in a pinch for both my boys back when we had crisis, and we were so amazed at how the staff is so efficient and quick and just addresses the issues. And children are my heart. That's my life's work. So I will share with you the journey that we've been on with my two boys and what meditation has brought me and help you become a beginner. So a little bit about me. These are all the groups that I have worked with. My first business, my heart's passion is working with children on the spectrum, children with diagnosis, special needs, complex cases. That's what I do. I'm a nutrition consultant, and I've worked with all these groups that you see here. I absolutely love what I do. And the journey with our two boys 15 years ago, they were the first generation in our family that had multiple food allergies. No one believed me that it was the food. And 15 years later, through testing and just trial and error and playing with food and supplementation and all kinds of holistic therapies, there's a lot that you can do to change things. And there's always one step that you can take to feel better. And that's what we have done. And then somewhere along the way, during the last 15 months of the pandemic, we opened up a second business, totally family run. We sell meditation cushions, and I'll share with you that story at the end because meditation is actually what brought me to that business. It's phenomenal how things have changed in the last 15 years. So I'm going to stop my video. There we go. So you can maximize the bandwidth and we will just dive into the presentation. Okay, there we go. So like it said, I was a skeptic for a long time. I don't have time to sit still. I'm very still much a doer. Having a to-do list and always checking off stuff on my list was like almost a compulsion for me. So back in nutrition school, and I heard about meditation and I've kind of seen it in the periphery throughout my life, and it was always on the list to try. But never got serious into it until a car accident knocked me off my feet, stuck me in bed for a few months, and literally that was the time I went deeper into it. It's phenomenal how if you don't listen to all those nudges that the universe sends your way, it will knock you harder on your feet so you have no choice. But yeah, with the journey that you take, there's so much to health. That's why, Helen, I love your group, the holistic, all the elements to it, right? There's food, there's nutrients, there's sleep, movement, detox, positive thinking, visualization, time in nature, time in the sun, stress management, so key. So all of these things, like you have to work on all elements of it. And the past 15 months, I'm sure, has made everybody reprioritize everything in our lives. And for me personally, I'm not going to go back to the way I was before. I'm not going to run around and do all the to-do lists because I've really slowed down and it's taught me so much more. I'm a different person. No stress, very grounded. And when there's a crisis, I can handle that. It doesn't send me off the deep end. But yeah, this was for literally years, this was on my list of to do. But around the time that I had the car accident and when I was lying in bed, just a fender bender, but again, enough to put you out of commission and you can't do your normal day to day and dealing with pain. And you descend into depression because you're like, why me? Why me? Why me? And so I just started reading. I said, okay, now I guess it's time. Also at that time, I had two people that I really admired and looked up to. They told me to read the same 2 books in the same week. So I took that as a huge sign. Again, that synchronicity. What are the odds? The same 2 books. So right away, I got those 2 books from the library and began to read, and I deepened and I went deeper into meditation. I started to become serious about it. And it's phenomenal what it's brought me. But yeah, I will share those 2 books with you at the end of the presentation. That's my way of paying it forward, and they were phenomenal because they took a skeptic like me and turned me into a dedicated meditation person. I meditate every day if I can, because I feel very off when I don't. And I will take you step by step to just kind of explain so you understand all the things that it can do physically, mentally, emotionally, and maybe even that spiritual layer. So these are the benefits that it can do. It can bring just physical calmness. In yoga, like in meditation, breath work is the thing that connects the mind and the physical body. So using the breath and being conscious, focusing on the breath is what you do to kind of center and calm down the mind. But physically, that breath work helps circulation, helps your blood, it helps your detox, it helps circulation of the lymph system. And then it just helps calm the nervous system down. So that go, go, go that we have all the time, that high level of stress, those are your adrenals, and they're always revved and always on the go. And that comes at a price, right? That is not sustainable long term. So taking the time to physically calm your nervous system becomes so important to just balance out the adrenals, one, and all that cortisol racing through your veins, the stress hormone, as they call it. Then as you continue your practice and you become more and more dedicated to it, because again, it's like everything, it's a habit that you need to get into, and it's like a muscle. You have to exercise it over time, and you'll see the changes slowly. So you start to quiet down that negative chatter. That's what also people call the monkey mind. You know, your thoughts racing nonstop. And then you begin to tap into your unconscious mind. And this is that intuition, that little voice deep inside that can get very loud in certain circumstances. You know, that gut feel that you have, when your stomach turns like something's not right, that's your intuition speaking to you. And that is from your unconscious mind. Yes, so it physically brings you so many benefits that it becomes you feel the difference when you go a couple of days without meditating. You feel the difference. You start to become like shaky and scattered and not too sure of your direction. Whereas when you take the time to just center yourself, whatever you want in the day, that the practice becomes totally up to you, and it evolves as well, right? Another big one as well, and that's what I've been talking about for the past 15 months, and my family is probably tired of hearing about it, but we want to look at boosting our immunity as much as we can in these times, right? And that's what meditation also brings, that immune system support. So I talked about how it calms the nervous system. Your cortisol, that stress hormone, starts to lower. Your adrenals can finally calm down and stop producing that cortisol, give them a break. Your digestion improves because when you're in that stress mode of fight or flight, your digestion gets turned off. Right? Because your body is ready to either run or fight. So when you're in that mode constantly, like I say, don't eat supper and watch the news, because that's what you're doing. You're putting yourself in that stress, fight or flight, and your digestion is not going to be optimal, and you're going to feel bloating and burping for hours afterwards. So you want to calm things down. So if your digestion improves, then your absorption of nutrients also improves. Your detox improves. So that's your body's ability to eliminate all those toxins that you're exposed to every day. We eat them, we breathe them, we drink them, right? And this way also your anxiety can be released. And that's the beauty of what we've done with our business and the meditation cushions, is that sharing this with other families for the past 15 months is saying, you know what? Turn off the news, find a way you can just find a moment of quiet. Just turn off your anxiety for even 5 minutes a day. It can really make a difference physically in your body. So, two quotes that I wanted to share with you that I absolutely love, and two people to follow if you're not following already, Brene Brown and Emily Fletcher. So, Brene Brown is amazing with her whole vulnerability, and she has a lot of talks on YouTube for free. I love the way she's an amazing speaker and she peppers everything with stories as well. She's very engaging, and she's very vulnerable, authentic, right? But she's right. We glorify being busy instead of just simply being, just sitting and spending time with your children. We've been at the cottage all week and just sitting still with the kids, just watching the water is a form of therapy in itself, pretty much. And then Emily. So I love the way she puts it. We meditate not to get better at it, but to get better at life. So you can deal with those daily stresses. You can deal with, a crisis that happens. You're better grounded, you're calmer, you're less on edge, and you're less judgmental, not only for yourself, but for other people. So two people I highly recommend follow. Again, free stuff on YouTube. We were just talking previously and saying that YouTube has exploded with free resources at this time. You can literally search up anything. So, oh, another little tip too that we've learned in time, and I love going on our family walks and seeing people really get busy with crafting. We've kind of rewound the clock and gone back to working with our hands just to take a break from the screen. And guess what? When you work with your hands, it's a form of meditation in itself, right? You're crafting, you're maybe reworking some furniture, you're beading, you're sewing, you're knitting, you're doing scrapbooking. Working with your hands is also therapy because those fine motor skills, and then your mind just is kind of emptied of all this worry and busy monkey mind, and you're focused on what you're making. So the thing with meditation, and that's basically what I did, and it was so awkward at first, is you just start where you are. As with anything, nothing is going to be perfect, nothing is going to be, all set. It's just like, you know what, take today and just say, I'm going to do it today, and just start where you are. It's like a muscle exercising, just recognizing when the thoughts try to keep, then they'll creep back in, to whisk you away. But it takes time just to slowly empty the mind and get it to a point where you're just focusing on the breath, grounded. And there's many, many different ways that you can do this, and I will show you. But yeah, that's how we started, literally at 5 minutes a day, guided. And yeah, what a change it makes, little by little, over the days and as the weeks pass, you see. So, what we're doing is that with meditation, we're slowly building the intention of mindfulness. And that's pretty much just staying in the present moment. And it's funny how it sounds so simple, but it's extremely hard to do. Because even if you go for a walk in the woods, paying attention to, like the wind blowing in the trees and the sounds of the birds, but within 2 minutes, your brain is like, oh, geez, that looks like clouds. I think it's going to rain tomorrow. Oh, and it's going to be like that time that it rained on us. And before you know it, you're off in memories and you're no longer in the present moment. So that is the challenge, is to start recognizing when the mind starts to take you away into judgment, I like or I dislike, or remember that time, or start worrying about tomorrow, and just be fully present in where you are now. So, noticing all those small details in life without judgment, without comparison, is just, you know, there's a chipmunk at my feet. Interesting. What's he doing? And then watching him move without even making stories in your head. It's one of those challenges that you get good at only through time with exercising that muscle. And there's a lot of ways you can do this. You can do this while eating. You can do this while walking in the woods. You can do this while reading or writing in your journal, but being fully present, not labeling anything, not thinking about tomorrow or yesterday, just being fully present in what you're doing for the moment, much like I am now. This is what I love about what we have created as a family for our business and that we give with the symbol of a meditation cushion is we help people make a sacred space and take pause from your hectic everyday life. And this sacred space can be so many things. It can be a literal space in your house if you want to carve out a corner, bedroom, favorite room, a sunroom, basement, or it could be time outside, time in your backyard, time in the forest, your favorite path. It doesn't have to be a physical space as well. Like when you're like walking in the woods is probably one of my top sacred spaces because just that quiet and that unplugged, I brings in so many ideas. It's phenomenal. Sometimes I have to run home because I get so excited about them and I got to write them down. So you learn to find calm inside the chaos. And you learn not to be part of the story, that mind chatter and all the negative emotions that go along with it. In the reading that I've done for the past 15 months, one of the tips that I've learned that I took away with, and I always say, is that a good practice is when you notice your mind start to go and chatter and start, well, I should have said this yesterday, or my boss did this and I should have done that. Pretend in your head you're watching it on a movie screen. When you do this, you separate it from you. It's you, your silent you, but you're watching it on a movie screen. And then through time, you'll be able to control that screen. So kind of like having a remote, so to speak. So you'll see, oh, okay, the story has started again. There it is on the screen. Okay, stop, push pause, and come back to just stillness and recognizing the moment and listening and using the body and the breath to stay present. So we're going to get into concepts of the ego and your subconscious, because the ego pretty much is the monkey mind. The ego is all that negative chatter and inner fear and the negative self-talk that we do. I remember seeing so many posts and reading, like Brene Brown would say, you would never speak like that to a friend, your best friend, and the way we speak to ourselves. Like, oh, what are you doing wearing that? Or, you look overweight today because of that color, or God, your hair is horrible, or we speak so negatively to ourselves. So this is one of the things we want to calm down and eliminate with kind of gaining control of that ego. All those fears, oh no, you can't do that. You're afraid of water or parachuting, or you can't go and eat that, or you can't go out and do that. Constant chatter, negativity, and these fears holding you back of what you want to do. Fear of flying, that was my son. Maybe sometimes people have a fear of going in nature, is just quieting this and calming this down and finding out that you are the one observing these thoughts. You are not this chatter. This is not you. You are watching them. And that's where you start to separate the ego from the subconscious or the unconscious you. You are they call it also the silent witness. You are the silent witness. It's not, you are not this chatter. It is separate from you. And the more you start to meditate and the more you start to read about it and you exercise that, wow, does it really release you from all those fears and negativity. You again, movie screen, remote control, turn it off. Stop. Yet becomes a possibility for you. This is something interesting too. If you notice and if you break this down, so the ego does not like to live in the present moment. The ego lives in the past, and that's that coulda, shoulda, woulda. I should have done that, or I should have said that, or I should have worn that, or I should have gone there. Like, but it's past, it's gone, and you didn't. So letting it go. So that past association is all regret and sadness and longing. And then the ego also likes to live in the future. All those fears. What's going to happen? What if? I hope this happens, or what it's going to rain tomorrow, or what if my boss says this, or what if I, don't get that promotion, or what if I get fired? All these fears also haven't happened yet. Not only that, but you don't have any control over that. That's associated with worry, anxiety, and fear. What's tomorrow going to look like? I don't know. And you also don't control that. So letting it go, you start to separate that. So you see, like the chatter, the ego always likes to just chatter away at you and like try to take control and make you worry and think about the past and the future. But that's not happening. It's now that's happening. And if you just focus on the now, there's a lot of things that you start to release and let go of. And that is all these negative emotions associated with the past and the future. If you just live in the present right now, I hear the wind in the trees. I have the sun on my face. I am outside giving a wonderful presentation. And that brings me joy. So let's see. Oh boy. Hang on a minute. There we go. Here we are. Okay. So, as I was saying, the ego craves attention and it will whine and judge and create stories in your head, and it refuses to live in the present moment, which is just the constant now. So the more you recognize it for what it is, the more you separate yourself from this endless chatter. And that's the beauty of it. That's the magic that starts to happen, is that you literally can separate yourself from it and these fears, and you can see them for what they are. You can see them from another angle. You know, my fear of swimming is gone. My fear of flying is gone, because you don't have control over that. You don't have control. The past is done and gone, and the future hasn't happened yet. So it's just trying to live in the eternal moment of the now. And then I love this slide. This was one of my favorite stories, Alice in Wonderland, growing up. And I remember this scene vividly. If you remember it, the caterpillar keeps asking Alice repeatedly, "Who are you? Who are you?" until she couldn't even answer it anymore. And I just thought it was fitting because, again, that's the beauty of it. When you start to recognize the ego and this negative chatter, and that it's separate from you and you are the silent witness, then you start to more and more say exactly that. Who am I? I am not this person that is afraid of water or afraid of flying or don't like to wear the color purple. You change, you start to change because you are separating yourself from this negative chatter. So then you start to ask yourself more and more, who am I? What have I become? I am now a nutritionist. I am now a seamstress. I am now a meditator. I am now a teacher, an instructor of meditation and yoga. You change. I was not all these things even 3 years ago. It has slowly changed over time. So that is the unexpected side of what meditation brings you. You rediscover yourself. And it's funny too, because as I talk to people, as I do my instructions and as teachings, I'm finding so many people go back to their childhood state, their passions and their heart's desires when they were a child. They seem to have full circle back to that before the world shaped them. You know, you graduate from school, then you get a job, and then you become corporate, and then the years pass, and then you get over a certain age, and you ask yourself, do I enjoy what I'm doing? And this is what I see time and time again, that people start to do full circle and go back to what they loved as a child because that truly caught their heart and their passion, in a time of innocence, right? And a time when it was so pure and so strong. So people are returning back to this and asking yourself, what do you love? What do you want to do? What do you want to give to the community? And this is also what meditation brings you. But I see this, and that's my heart's work. So when I start to see people um, become full circle to the things and find and maybe discover something new and just find their heart's desire. So when you start to separate from all this chatter and the monkey mind, you know, you make it a movie screen, and as you meditate and the weeks go by, and then you can slowly control it to the point where you can turn off the movie screen and even just have a few moments of just breathing, noticing, feeling. You start to tap into your subconscious self, which is, like I said, the silent witness of everything. And the more you do it, the more powerful and louder it gets. So remember how I talked about that intuition and it's kind of that gut feel? Well, it turns into like a small, subtle feeling that you just know the right thing to do. For example, when I go, um, one time, like a big aha moment for me getting into meditation, I was walking in the forest one time and still recovering from my car accident. And I was considering taking another workshop for vision boards because I love doing that. I love the practice of putting all your goals onto a board and have it visually there and looked at every day, and that works towards you because every day you start to take steps towards your goal. So I was like considering signing up for, I think, my third or my fourth. And then all of a sudden, like this little thought popped in my head. It's like, don't sign up for one. Why don't you give one? You're ready. And it literally stopped me in my tracks. That just that thought, because there's no fear, no nothing attached to it. No, you can't do this. It was like, wow, why don't you do this? And I raced home and I started designing a vision board workshop class. And no word of a lie, but 1 month later, I was teaching them. I was so in flow with so many ideas, no fear, nothing held me back. I was teaching them and I gave a series of them before the shutdown and they were phenomenal. And yeah, it's truly what I enjoy, but you will get moments like that when you start to become more grounded and more into your silent subconscious self. Your intuition gets louder. You start to draw on decisions, the things that you want to do next, maybe changes you want to make in your life. And you know it's the right thing to do because you feel it. You feel it in that deep part of yourself. So you tap into an endless supply of energy. And then again, when you go deeper and keep reading and you read about the universe and how we're all connected and energy and vibration, and it's a very humbling experience and it also alters your perspective. Like the time that we have is so limited. So that's what I've taught my boys is you make the most of every day. Make the most of every day and what do you want to do for today? So yes, getting into the different kinds of meditation that there are many more than just what's listed here. As you start to read and as you start to learn, because again, everyone's journey is going to be different. We are all like snowflakes. So you become more familiar with yourself, and then you discover the things that you need to keep your practice going. So we have tried a lot of these. Yoga is what I love to do. Guided meditations is what started me. There's mantra meditations where you're actually chanting. There's chakra meditations where you learn about the energy systems of the body. You can do visualizations. For example, when I started off meditating, I started off guiding a guided one. There's many apps that I'm going to show you, and then I moved into visualization. Like you just can fill your mind with an energy or an image. It could be your favorite place, it could be a thing, it could be a person, but you just focus on filling your mind with that one visualization, and that's what keeps all the negative chatter out. So I did move through visualization, and then I moved into sound. I now love sound baths and crystal bowls and certain kinds of music because they keep me centered and grounded. It keeps me in the here and now because I'm focusing on this music so intently that it doesn't let the negative chatter come in. So yeah, I've evolved through many of these. So it's a matter of, exploring and reading and discovering which one would resonate with you. Yes. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, or if you want to get a copy of the slide, either one, but it's funny, even just how many years did I start meditating? Maybe four, maybe three. There are way more apps that you can download. Some of them free, some of them paid. to help you get started into meditation. So the one that I used was Headspace because again, same thing. I had 3 people recommend Headspace to me in like the span of a few weeks. So I started with that one, and there's 10 guided meditations for free. And then you can choose if you want to sign up or not. And I just did the free 10 ones, and then I moved into visualizing and music instead. But they're great because they talk you through, and it starts with literally 5 minutes, and you just listen to a voice, nothing else. And it feels awkward at first, as with anything new, but slowly over time, you will explore how it makes you feel, if that makes sense. It will make you feel differently. So now the body has motor muscle memory. Every time I go to my sacred space and I sit down and I assume the position, and within the 3 deep breaths, I can feel my whole body just physically sink and then relax. And I get into the zone. That's what I call it. So with time and with practice, you get to explore how it makes you feel. And again, how deep you want to go. And this is what's phenomenal too, is that there are so many places locally that you can go if you find that you, I don't know, you rather be in a group to do or to stay regular to your practice, to start it and to stay regular. There are so many communities, both physically, and then all of these have turned virtual in this time. And I think they're now opening up outdoor as well. But there's a lot of local space that you can go to that just focus on meditation. Also, again, I should star that with all yoga studios do teach a form of meditation. It's either within the practice or they have workshops, breath workshops, or sound baths. But there's so many places that you can go to be part of a community if that's what's going to help you, get started and stay regular. Because everyone's different, right? But we do have so much to offer. And yes, so paying it forward, here are the 2 books that I was told to read in the same week by 2 people I greatly admired. And you know what? They were the perfect books to get me started. Because again, as a skeptic who never stayed still, who was always on the go, always running around with the kids, with my to-do list, um, I read 10% Happier first. And it literally is the same thing. It's a skeptic who walks the whole journey. And again, he was a news reporter, so what he did is as he was exploring meditation and as he went deeper into it, he would read a book and then he would invite that author onto his show and ask them so many questions about it. And he just went deeper and deeper and deeper into it. But at first he was so embarrassed to reveal that he was meditating. But now he's got this whole podcast on meditation and everything. But the book is a perfect journey because you will resonate with it because you will see yourself in it. I saw myself in it. He was a skeptic just like I was, and he walked you through his whole journey. And again, I got all the books that he himself had read. And the second one, Michael Singer, The Surrender Experiment. I even made my husband read this. It's phenomenal. This is pretty much the story of his life. So it kind of chronicles maybe 60 years, but his story is phenomenal and what happened when he just surrendered to the universe. So basically, in a nutshell, one of his first times meditating, because he was also new to it and then wanted to try it. And I think one of his early experiences, he was out in nature and he had this profound experience. It was like either a visualization or something, but from there, all he wanted to do, he let go everything in his life, and all he wanted to do was meditate to get back to that feeling. He even sold everything and then moved deep in the forest. And then people just kept finding him. And he was so annoyed. He was like, I just want to be quiet and meditate. But he realized the people weren't going to leave him. Like they just kept coming and finding him. So he finally said, okay, God, I surrender to whatever you bring me, and I will do whatever crosses my path and what I've been asked to do. And his journey is just unbelievable. It is unbelievable, but I couldn't put it down. But those are the books that I read, one after the other. that prompted me to go further, that made me go deeper, and made me commit to my own practice. So here's some more resources for you as well. I always love giving out as much resources as I can. I've read all of these. You can find them talks on YouTube. You can get their books. You can do an audiobook, whichever way appeals to you the most. But these are some amazing people that I've read. Like Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, reading that in the time of the pandemic was completely phenomenal because he wrote it 10 years ago and it's almost like he predicted this to happen. It was just such a time, like I was underlining almost every other sentence in that book because I was just ready to hear it at the time. But some phenomenal people that you can follow, you can listen to, Instagram, whatever your media platform. So if anything, some takeaways for you. So starting where you are, even if it's just on a walk, you go away and do, okay, this is it. Today's the day I'm going to start. Just start with a few minutes. You can put it on a calendar, you can do it ad hoc, but be on a journey to, I guess, know yourself and know what you're going to resonate with and what will make you commit to your practice. Definitely exploring new things, reading. I've taken the last 15 minutes to read so many things and gone deep into spirituality. Not only that, but learning new things on YouTube because as a new seamstress, people are coming to me with all kinds of custom orders that I'll say yes to that I have never built before. So then I go on YouTube and learn how to make them, and then I make them. So it's basically just saying yes to opportunities that come your way as well, right? Listening to those quiet little nudges of the universe, the opportunities that are sent your way. You have that choice, yes or no. And where will the yes take you? And it's really phenomenal where the yes brings you. Spending time in nature as often as you can. There's something supercharged about the air within the trees. That I think we're just starting to understand scientifically, spiritually, emotionally. But time in nature is so important. It's just a different feel when you start to get quiet and you just start to listen. That's where my biggest inspirations come from is when I'm walking in the forest, and then I have to race home and start writing it all down. And that's another thing too is allowing your emotions to move through you. The past 15 months have been such a roller coaster, unpredictable. We have all been forced to be still, not go anywhere. So therefore, all the news takes on a different meaning because we're like forced to bear witness to all these things happening everywhere in the world, right? They now have extra charged, supercharged focus because we are all still and at home. So, and allowing these emotions to come up and move through you. Something that I've learned is that when you try to block your emotions or lock them away, they can physically get stored in the body, and sooner or later you'll have to deal with them, or like I said, you'll get knocked off your feet and forced to deal with them. So allowing those emotions to move with you, through you. Again, you can get a practitioner. There's so many wonderful resources that are in the area if you want to learn more about this one aspect, because personally I've done a lot of spiritual and emotional work past couple of months with the help of my guide. um, yeah, it's you're just a different person. You let go of, past angers, past grudges, you work on forgiveness, you work on self-love, so many things. Setting your intentions, and what you want to do for the day, for the month, for the week, whichever, taking things slowly. Here in our household, we just take everything 1 week at a time. We don't know when the borders are going to open. We don't know this. We don't know that. Just 1 week at a time. And that's our pace that allows us to be okay. Not stressed out, not anxiety, just dealing with things as they come. Being good to yourself, taking those extra times, especially when you have a race around day, take half hour at the end of the day, unplug, do something that you love, make a smoothie, work on boosting your immunity, all of these things, get that extra hour sleep in. Anything that you can think of, sit down, write your journal, start a vision board, um, get some good sleep, and just trying to stay positive and calm. And that's what I find meditation brings me. A different person now. I'm much more calm. Nothing ruffles my feathers. We had 2 deaths in the family last month. And going through those, I now have a different perspective and understanding of it. So it wasn't as turbulent as it used to be. So if we have the time, yes, we do. Great. What I was going to do is just take a few minutes and kind of introduce you to a guided meditation, just kind of as a teaser. I mean, the apps do it much better, but take a few moments. What I'm going to do is just kind of walk you through the steps of what to do and what to feel. So find a comfortable position. If you're in your chair, put both feet on the floor, have your arms relaxed by your side. If you want to sit on the floor, even better. What you want to do is you want to be in a position that is soft but also alert. So you don't fall asleep, but you stay alert and soft in awareness and comfortable. And then once you're there physically, you begin to deepen the breath. And we call this using your belly breath. So instead of breathing at the chest, which is a very shallow breath, what you do is you consciously breathe and you fill your belly full of air as far as it will go. And then just sigh it out or let it stretch out to release with gravity. And maybe close down the eyes and start focusing on those belly breaths, filling it up like a balloon as far as it will go. And on your own time, exhaling, you can either sigh or exhale through the nose. And then you consciously deepen those breaths. When you breathe from the belly, you're using your diaphragm. So it's a different breath, it's a different capacity. And as you continue breathing this way with your eyes closed, you start to calm down the nervous system. You calm the vagus nerve. Those adrenals can start to relax, stop producing cortisol. And you're going to notice your mind wander. Some thoughts are going to creep in, but just pretend they're like passing clouds and let them go. Doesn't matter what they are, you just see them without judgment, or you picture a movie screen separate from yourself and you let them go. And you just come back to the breath wherever you are. And you take a big belly breath in. And you exhale softness. Maybe you notice how your feet feel on the floor, or how your neck feels consciously relaxed, or how your head feels heavy. Maybe the thoughts creep in again. Notice them and just let them go. And you just focus on the breath. Inhale awareness, and you exhale softness. Perhaps you want to focus on the sounds that you hear in your environment. If you have soft music playing in the background, the sounds of nature, the wind, maybe a machine going in the background, that can also bring you back to the present. And you just continue with the breath. Inhale, awareness. Exhale, softness. Then when you're ready, bring your awareness back to the body, feeling the chair underneath you or the floor under your sit bones. Maybe the smells of your environment. Maybe the wind on your skin. But you slowly start to come back, consciously back to the body. And as your breathing starts to get more shallow, when you're ready, you can open the eyes and be back into the present moment. And that literally was not even 5 minutes. So even just that slow time, that small little space of time, allowing yourself during the day to have it, to unplug. So the last thing that I wanted to share was a promo code for your group. So our website is awakendharma.com. You can go and browse. But what we wanted to do as a thank you for this opportunity, and as an inspiration for those who feel so compelled, if you wanted to start a practice or make a sacred space, we're offering a rebate for 6 days if you put in the promo code CHIO. If you find a cushion that resonates with you, yeah, we wanted to offer that for everybody. We so love what we do and just sharing, finding those moments of stillness and quiet just so your body can unplug, so you can just find that calmness. So I will stop the share and